Up, everybody? Welcome to the DubClub stream. Today you have myself, Alpha Dog Bets, here with Hefe Picks. Hefe, pleasure to have you on DubClub TV today. How are you?
Pleasure. Appreciate the invite, man. Pleasure's all mine. Looking forward to chopping it up, talking about all things sports. I love the fact that we can take this convo anywhere we want to. There's
We can.
so many things to talk about. Even in like a day where maybe it's just college basketball, NBA, and hockey. There's so many off the court, off the field stuff to get into, man. So I'm excited.
Absolutely excited to have you on as well, and I do apologize here. I'm going to be retweeting this, so when I click it, it's probably going to make a noise. It didn't, so that's good. So nobody had to hear us kind of getting all set up here. All right, Hef. Well, let's kind of start with the breaking news we just had in the NFL. Aaron Glenn, former defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, has accepted the New York Jets head coach position, where he was a player for quite a long time. What are your thoughts about this?
Mixed thoughts, mixed thoughts. Let's start off with the fit. I think great fit in terms of the type of person he is. If you guys didn't know, this guy, Aaron Glenn, first round pick of the Jets back in 1994. He played for the team, got his first post playing job for the Jets as a scout, I believe. This
Yeah.
guy's been, everywhere, literally everywhere. In terms of coaching, he's been a scout. He's been a DB coach. He's been a defensive coordinator, obviously. He's been in multiple levels. From the aspect of, is the person the right person for this job? Yes. Because I believe he's a leader of men, and he has a personal tie to the Jets in terms of playing there.
Yeah.
The Jets were the team that gave him his first shot in the NFL, so he wants to be there. And that's so important. It wasn't like the Jets got a guy who interviewed somewhere else, didn't get that job, then they hired him. This was the job Aaron Glenn wanted. This is the job Aaron Glenn got. Now we talk about on the field stuff. I do not think the Jets needed a defensive head coach.
It makes no sense. I mean, I'm very happy you brought that up because as I think Aaron Glenn has a bright future as a head coach in the NFL, this situation I didn't exactly think was best for him. So I want to hear your thoughts about that.
He needs exceptional coordinators. And I'm just reading this report from Schultz. Top two targets. You see this yet? From Jordan Schultz
I have
for
not.
coordinators. Offensive coordinator, former quarterback Mark Brunell, who I
Okay.
believe has, to my knowledge, never been an OC,
I don't
maybe
believe so.
QB coach somewhere. And defensive coordinator, now this is a name, Steve Wilkes, who I believe
That's a
not
good
only
one.
has been a defensive coordinator, but also been a head coach for maybe the Cardinals somewhere. I want to say definitely the Cardinals. So that's a good one. But I'm a little worried about offense
Yeah.
because I know Aaron Glenn is a leader of men. He needs a heck of an offensive coordinator. And it's got to be one of those guys. If you ask me right now who I think, I'm looking at somebody like Doug Peterson, looking for a job. I'm looking like somebody, Frank Reich, who's, excuse me, an experienced offensive coordinator who's proven that he can win. That's the caliber of OC I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want one that's a first time OC.
100% agree with you.
Or go the other way and go super young, but I doubt he's available because of KOC got his extension with the Vikings, is Josh McCown.
Yeah. No,
But
I
I'll tell you
agree
one
there.
thing: if you see and tell and then I'm gonna let you have your time to speak. Is the last thing I want to say. If you see Josh McCown even rumored to be going to the Jets, consider Aaron Rodgers retired route and consider the New York Jets starting quarterback as Sam Darnold.
Wow. You really think so? You really think
Where
Darnold would go back to where he was
where's he come
drafted?
from? Where's he come
I
from?
have no idea where Darnold's
Where?
going to go.
No, I'm saying where's Josh McCown right now?
Minnesota.
He's a Minnesota Vikings QB coach, right? He just really revitalized Sam Darnold's career.
Absolutely.
If he is getting a shot at an OC job, I would assume that that means that he's bringing who he was successful with, which is his quarterback.
I could see that. I could see that. So I kind of compare this situation very similarly to the Ben Johnson situation. I know they're both coming from the same team, but the way you said both guys need strong coordinators is exactly how I feel about Ben Johnson going over to Chicago as well. He's a guy that does not have a big voice in the locker room. And Kevin O'Connell is one of those guys as well. He's exactly the same coaching mind as a Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, in my opinion, with their personalities. he's the type of guy who needed a very strong defensive coordinator and a loud voice in the locker room, and he got that with Brian Flores. I think the only reason the Vikings were successful is because they had a defensive coordinator like Brian Flores, a man amongst boys in that locker room, someone who could control the respect and control the team as he did. So I'm in agreement with you. It all depends on the kind of coordinators that they put in front of Aaron Glenn in New York, but it's a very difficult situation. Going to, as you know, and as I know, we live in the New York media. It's the toughest media to play in. It's going to be a lot of questions very early, and this team is not built to win right now. So it's a difficult situation for Aaron Glenn, in my opinion. Do I think it's a winnable situation? Absolutely. Every situation can improve. He could do a very good job. I just thought they needed an established coach more than a first time rookie head coach. We just had that in Robert Saleh for the New York Jets, and how did that end up for them? So I thought they should have went a different route personally, but I don't hate that they went the route of Aaron Glenn, as I do think he was one of the best coaching candidates out there. I just thought it would be for a different team, would have made a lot more sense. I thought Aaron Glenn should have gone to the Saints, another team that he has played for in the past. I thought that was a better fit. But he does end up going to the Jets, and good for the Jets. They do get one of the premier coaches in the market currently. All right, Hefe. One
Somebody
more.
to look out. So somebody to look out for. Sorry, I
Good.
just needed to look this up to make sure that my facts are straight. When Aaron Glenn was moving up in the ranks with the Jets, um, one of the you gotta look at relationships when guys become first time head coaches. Who do they have a relationship with? Who have they kind of moved up in the ranks with? One of the guys that Aaron Glenn has a lot of ties to is Anthony Lynn, who we remember was a Chargers coach for a little while there. And do you know where he is right now? You know where
Not sure.
he is the D coordinator, I believe, for the Washington Commanders.
Wow.
Or maybe not the D coordinator. He's on the
He's
Commanders
on the
staff. Let's
staff.
look that up. Um, don't know why he would leave a situation like that, but something to consider because those two guys, Aaron Glenn and Anthony Lynn, have a tie, and that's a guy that honestly, if I was a Jets fan, I'd be like, you know what, that's a good D coordinator pick right there. Even Steve
Yeah.
Wilkes is too, in my opinion.
I think Wilkes would be a very good pick for them.
Yeah.
I think that would be a very, very big influential signing. He's of the type of the Brian Flores who will command respect in the locker room. He'll be loud. He's that personality that I think they need to match with a guy like Aaron Glenn. So we'll see how that all plays out. One more thing I wanted to bring to your attention, which I know you already know, but just discuss before we go into what we think is going to happen in the championship round of the NFL, because we are going to break down the games that are coming up this weekend on Sunday, the two games, the AFC and the NFC Championship, let you know what we think about those. I did want to bring up, there are 5 current NFL head coaches that once played for the teams they are now leading. Now with Aaron Glenn on the Jets, Mike Vrabel back to the Patriots, Dan Campbell on the Lions, Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers, and D'Amico Ryans with the Texans. Do you think it's successful bringing a guy who played for your team in for the culture, for the personality? Because the next one who could be on this list is potentially Deion Sanders. Is he going to return to Dallas and be the 6th head coach to return to a team they played for? What do you think about this trend of guys returning to the teams they played for and taking over those organizations?
I think it makes for a good story. I think it makes for a good social media post. I don't think it matters at all to win
You don't think
games.
with D'Amico at least? Like, I got that vibe from D'Amico and Dan Campbell, both of them. D'Amico was a Texan. He epitomized being a Houston Texan, and then he's gone there and
That
instilled that in his guy. Same with Dan Campbell.
I will say that D'Amico Ryan might be the only person that I could honestly in my head be like, okay, it does make a little bit of a difference, and that's only because the Texans have only been around for so long. So he was literally a one of the original Texans, right? Came in there maybe
Yeah.
3 4 years after the franchise got established. So for him to like in such a short time be in a position to now lead the franchise as the head coach, that matters. Dan Campbell got a cup of coffee with the Lions. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Aaron Glenn,
Giant, too.
yeah, exactly. Aaron Glenn, I get it because they drafted him, big deal. But I don't think like that matters more than the character of the person.
I would
Um,
agree.
if listen, if I'm choosing the type of head coach that I want for my franchise, and I mean, sadly, we're both Giants fans, we don't get that choice
Unfortunately.
this year. I'm looking at that tree of that Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, KOC,
Yeah.
Zach Taylor tree. I mean, I know that he wasn't successful as head coach, but Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coordinator, these young guys with their IQ of playmaking is where I think the NFL is headed because it's getting so smart. And offenses have to be so good and so just all on the same page. I think that the next hot guy is Josh McCown. To be honest with you, you're looking at those players. I think I'm sorry, coaches. I think that have immense IQ. Unless you have a team that has all the talent in the world and just needs somebody to make all the 30 players in the locker room a team. And that's literally what I think the Lions needed more than a genius. I don't. There's a lot of talk right now. Oh, Ben Johnson's gone, Aaron Glenn gone. What are the Lions going to do next year? I guarantee you, they're going to be just
I
fine
agree. I agree
because
with that a
they
thousand
have
percent.
immense talent and immense belief in themselves, and that comes directly from Dan Campbell.
I agree. And I think Dan Campbell is one of, if not the best coach in the NFL right now. What he instills in his players and gets out of them is truly fantastic.
Yep.
I wasn't going to bring this up. This wasn't on the agenda, but it's something that did just pop in my mind. Do you think that the Lions may have potentially lost because their coordinators were interviewing and not focused on the game? I hate that in the middle of playoff runs, teams are able to interview other
Yeah,
teams'
I
coordinators
think it's ridiculous.
because
I do
Cliff
think it's ridiculous.
Kingsbury of Washington rejected every interview. He said, if you want to interview me, you have to wait till the Washington Commanders are eliminated from the postseason run.
Well,
He's the only one
yes.
who has done that.
So here's the rule for the NFL. You're only allowed to interview somebody if they're on a bye week.
Yes.
So the only coaches that were able to interview was obviously any coaching staff on the Chiefs or any coaching staff in the Lions. Commanders wouldn't have that opportunity as they never had a
It's
bye
true.
week. Both Johnson and Aaron Glenn took many of an interview in that bye week. I don't think that is the reason they lost. Flat out. I don't mean to make it so simple. They lost because Jared Goff threw three interceptions, and Jameson Williams threw another one that was
One of the
so
worst plays
damn
I've ever seen.
bad. It was just bad. It was
Yeah.
just. It was the one example of Ben Johnson getting too cute. That's why they lost. And the
It really
Commanders
was.
just did, there's one theme in the playoffs, and I know we'll get to it. The team that takes care of the ball is the team that wins. Doesn't matter how many yards you get. Doesn't matter how proficient you are in offense. Doesn't matter anything else. Tackles for loss, sacks. If the team that doesn't turn the ball over, or turns the ball over less, is the team that's winning the games.
Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000%. And the numbers are proving that. I believe the only team that did not win the turnover margin and win the game was the Kansas City Chiefs. That game had no turnovers in it. The Chiefs and the Texans was a lot of sacks, though, for the Texans. They took 8 sacks, almost a record in sacks in a playoff game. But they didn't turn it over. But every other game was heavily impacted by whoever won the turnover margin. Great way to segue, Hefe. Let's dive into some bets. Let's start giving the people what they're here for. And first, we're going to break down the Washington Commanders taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC East NFC Championship game. I'm going to continue to call it the NFC East NFC Championship game because as a Giants fan, at least we could say that the two best teams in the NFC came out of the NFC East, so at least it makes us feel maybe a little bit better. At least it does for me. But what do you like in this game? Commanders are currently getting 6.5. The total is currently sitting at 47.5. And I did bring up the public betting percentages just to take a look at what we can see here. And in this one, we're seeing 42% of the tickets are on the Eagles, while 58% of the 42% of the money is on the Eagles, while 58% of the money is on the Commanders for this game. What do you think is going to happen in this one? Third game between between these two teams. I think it's very difficult to play a team 3 times in a single year and blow them out. So I'll kind of allude to what I'm potentially thinking here. But what do you think?
I'll put it like this. I'm gonna. I don't want to. I don't want to just let it out. I want to kind of slow roll it. So, I want to tell you that right now, I am not impressed with the Philadelphia passing game.
Nobody is.
Luckily for them, Saquon Barkley is going nuclear, and nobody has to be impressed with their passing game. Their defense is doing exactly what they need to do.
Yep.
They are stopping the other team and keeping the game close enough so that at some point in the game, Saquon and that offensive line can wear down the opposing defense and make things happen. That's been the game plan for the Eagles right now for already 2 straight games.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's worked. I think last week, if it snows 1 hour later than it did, we might be talking about Rams Commanders.
It could be.
Because the way that snow affected the Rams immediately, I've never seen before. I forgot who fumbled first. I think it was Kyron first.
Yeah,
Then
brutal.
Stafford. Then they can't complete passes. And then all of a sudden, they remember how to complete passes again. And they go and score, and then Saquon goes berserk. And, that's how that game went. I have never seen a quarterback more unnerved than Jaden Daniels. He is just the same.
He's unfazed. You can't
He's
phase this
unfazed.
guy.
And that translates to turnovers. He's not making mistakes, man. He's really not alpha. He's not overextending himself. He's also what I love the most about him is even though this guy could easily run for 50 yards a game, his intuition is to stay in the pocket until go through all of his reads. I'm very impressed with that.
I agree.
I'm gonna start off with some props. I have two props in this game, and my first one is right there with Jaden Daniels. I'm taking the over 52 and a half rushing yards. They have to keep that Eagles defense as honest as humanly possible. And to me, that includes an extra QB spy. To me, that includes loading the box. To me, that includes just a lot of eyes on Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
I still think he'll find his spots because Terry McLaurin quietly is having a great postseason. But do you know who else is having an amazing postseason for the Washington Commanders? Diami Brown.
I was going to get to him. Yeah, he's been unbelievable. He had two
Unbelievable.
touchdowns in the opening round.
Two touchdowns in the opening round, leading the Commanders in receptions and receiving yards through the first 2 games, sorry, and
Yep.
over 3.5 receptions, minus 150. It's juicy, but he's gotten 5+ first 2 games. If the Eagles are going to pressure Jaden to keep him in the pocket and keep him scrambled, he's going to be looking for quick outs. Terry's down the field, Zacchaeus, whatever, down the field. Damian Brown and Zach Ertz are your safety nets.
Yep.
I think you'll see them a lot.
And
So
Eckler.
I'll start off.
Can't forget Eckler in that passing game. He's been
Yes,
unbelievable.
Eckler. Eckler will be big in this game.
I
I
concur.
think you'll see more of Eckler than you'll see Brian Robinson Jr. just because of the style of play.
Really?
In
Interesting.
terms of success,
I can see it.
any props from you? From going first?
Yeah, so I have a few props I'm looking at this game, and you actually stole my thunder immediately on De'Ami Brown. But I am looking at his touchdown prop at a plus 350. I do think people are going to score
Wow.
for this Washington team. This Commanders team is going to put points on
Yeah.
the board. There's
Yeah,
not a
it's
doubt in
gotta
my
be a lot.
mind.
Yeah.
And when you take a look at the touchdown props, so let me go through the odds by the shortest odds to the highest odds here. So minus 250, Saquon anytime. Minus 130, Jalen Hurts
Ridiculous.
anytime. Plus 140, A.J. Brown anytime. And the first Commander to pop up on the anytime touchdown prop board is Terry McLaurin at plus 140. So any Commander you think has a chance of scoring, you're getting some decent value there because every single player is a plus 140 or higher or longer. Taking a look, their second shortest odds is Brian Robinson Jr. to score a touchdown at plus 200. That's another play I'm definitely going to have on this game. I do think Brian Robinson will find the end zone at least once. We've all seen it all season long when the Commanders get down to the 1 yard line, which could be a pass interference in the end zone, could be a penalty in the red zone. The Commanders get it at the 1. They're pounding the ball with Brian Robinson. He's big enough to where he gets the line push and he gets in the end zone. So at plus 200, I definitely think there's some value on Brian Robinson Jr. to find the end zone. Other guys I like that I'm not sure of, and I want to ask you your opinion, Zach Ertz. This guy's been an absolute machine. He's been scoring touchdowns left and right, including at the end of the regular season. I believe he had 2 in week 18. So this guy has been putting up some big numbers. What are the receiving weapons do you like to potentially score for the Commanders? Because that's where I see the value here. I mean, if you like a guy like Zacchaeus, who's had some big games this year and has scored a bunch of touchdowns, he's coming in at a plus 500. Like I said earlier, Diami Brown, plus 350. Austin Eckler, plus 310. Zach Ertz, plus 290. Yeah. All these guys have some crazy odds. Any of them stick out to you outside of De'Ami Brown as well as Brian Robinson? Because those are the two I'm definitely playing so far.
I worry about Ertz because Eagles have great linebackers, man. They really do. Braun is
I mean, he's having a very strong year, but I mean, I've seen a lot of people talk about some of his interceptions. The one that Jordan Love threw him, put it right in the breadbasket. You could have made that interception if the ball was thrown to you there. So I don't put a ton of stock in that. It wasn't like he was even in a great position. It was just such a bad play by Jordan Love. But I agree. Braun has had a very productive postseason and a productive year.
Somebody like Braun is in a passing down situation. If Eckler does, go out there, primarily will be covered by a linebacker most likely. And Braun has just proven that, Austin Eckler is exactly 25 years old. So he's not blazing by anybody. His hands are great for running back, and on a typical linebacker, he can absolutely crush them on a wheel route. But I don't know about Braun, sorry. So I like Zacchaeus. I like Diami Brown. Ertz is interesting because I think how close this game will be will depend on how good of a game Zach Ertz has. I think he's going to be crucial in short down situations. I think the Eagles have a really good run D. I think they'll be able to limit the stuff down the middle. I think that's where RPOs will come into play, and I think that's where play action will come into play and short out routes to people like Diamond Brown, people like Zach Ertz. If I don't think there's going to be a game where Jane Daniels is going to be back there slinging it to Scary Terry all day. Because Cooper DeJean and Quinnion Mitchell, two rookies by the way, insane, both hit.
Yeah. Yep.
They look great.
Unfortunately.
And then, by the way, then you got Slay, and then you got C.J. Gardner Johnson. So they have a solid secondary.
They have guys.
They can be had. They can be had, but a lot of guys that can cover.
I agree with you there. So when we go more towards the game, let's talk about game lines because it's already almost 2:30 and we have still yet to give out a side on any NFL action. I still want to touch on the NBA tonight as well because I know the people want some midweek action. Let me put this out here now. If you guys are watching this right now, we have been absolutely destroying the NFL playoffs. I went 4-0 in the divisional round. We are on one of the hottest runs I've ever been. So I'm excited to break this down. I definitely have a strong read on this game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm all over the Commanders plus the 6.5. I got to let you know. I think the Commanders are going to have an absolutely monster performance. Do I think the Commanders win the game? I do not. But 6.5 is a lot of points in a divisional game where these two teams are very familiar with each other. It's not like they don't know how each other play. They're in the same conference or in the same division. They've played each other twice already, and they know what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. In a game like this, where it's a third time seeing each other in essentially a semifinal round of the entire playoffs, I think this is going to be a close game. I think this game gets decided late in the fourth quarter, maybe by a field goal, maybe by a touchdown to overtake the other team. But I think this one definitely stays within a touchdown. So I'm very confident to say that I do have 3 units on the Washington Commanders plus 6.5. It's the first time I've repeated that out loud this week. Let me repeat it one more time. The Washington Commanders plus 6.5 for 3 units is my official play on this game. What do you think and what are you taking?
I agree with you. 6.5 for the championship game which is a weekend that historically low scoring, very marginal, just very tough, gritty football games. I think is a lot of points, especially when you're talking about divisional teams that see each other already twice in the year, have
Yep.
a lot of tape on one another. I think a humongous factor, and we will not know this probably until pregame, is what the hell is up with Jalen Hurts and his mobility. If he is as injured as we think he is, and he can't move like Jalen Hurts can usually move, it's going to be a long day for him.
I agree.
Because even though Saquon Barkley's hands down one of the best running backs we've ever seen, at some point, if the Commanders can see that Jalen can't move, you load that damn box up and you absolutely force Jalen Hurts to make this a passing game.
Yeah.
And in that sense, that's where we spoke about earlier, with a team that makes the least mistakes, least turnovers, will win. That's where the Commanders have a chance to not just cover, but win this game. If they can put this game on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts, go out there, prove it. You got 2 great wide receivers, Devontae Smith, Jalen Brown. You got a great tight end, Dallas Goedert. Shoot, Saquon Barkley's a great passing
Receiving back, yeah.
Receiving back, sorry. Go out there and prove it to us. I think that's where the Commanders can get something done in terms of forcing a mistake, whether it be a tackle for loss, whether it be a sack, a fumble, interception, pick your poison.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
rolling
agree
with the
with you
Commanders.
on that one.
I'm rolling with the Commanders plus 6.5, and it's because I believe that no matter what the score is in the game, they will stick to their game plan. They will not do things outside of their norm. They will not make mistakes. As long as they do not make mistakes, I give the Commanders a really good shot at covering this. And then, if it's close at the end of the day, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked if they win.
We might see the first ever rookie quarterback lead his team to the Super Bowl. He's been that good. And if you're just tuning in now, we've been breaking down this game. We've been talking about how Jaden Daniels has not been phased all postseason long and really all season long. He's been quite the unicorn out there. This guy is the most composed rookie quarterback in the big moment that I can remember. And I know all the talk coming into this year was Caleb Williams. Hefe, you know my feelings about Caleb Williams, and I had them from pre-draft
Yeah.
that I did not think he was the best quarterback in this class. I thought it was Drake May. I'll be the first to put it out there. But I did like Jaden Daniels still over Caleb as well. And Jaden Daniels has proven everybody wrong if he's had any doubters, and if you believed in him, he's proven every single person right. So if you had to pick one anytime touchdown score, because I did just retweet the game saying we're giving, or retweet the show saying we're giving out some NFL plays. Looks like we had a rather large jump in people just jump in here. So one more time, what is your number one prop on this game? Or let's do an anytime touchdown bet. What's your number one anytime touchdown bet
Sure,
on this
I'll
game?
do both. Screw it. My number one problem with this game is Diami Brown over 3.5 receptions. Um, just he's coming out as the safety blanket for Jaden Daniels. And my number one touchdown prop, um, I'm gonna go with Zach Ertz. He just
He's been doing it.
let's not forget the elephant in the room. That was his team, man.
True.
He
True.
won a Super Bowl with his team, man.
True that.
With the Eagles, I'm talking about.
Of course.
He
Of course.
knows
Not,
this
not the
environment.
Commanders.
He knows this environment. He knows that building. He's gonna feel right at home. Point intended. The weather ain't gonna catch him off guard. The noise ain't gonna catch him off guard. I think that'll be a sense of relief and a safety net for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. I'm with you on the Commanders. And for my anytime touchdown prop on this game, I'm going Brian Robinson Jr., guys, plus 200 to find the end zone at least once. We spoke about it to intro this game. If you like any touchdown scores on the Commander side, they're all at plus money. Terry McLaurin is the shortest odds to that minus odds, and he's at plus 140. So anybody you like outside Terry McLaurin is plus 200 or more. I think there's going to be some value on picking some touchdown scores for the Commanders, which, by the way, this game is a total of 47.5. So people are going to have to score, and the odds makers are putting it as they're not. So I do expect touchdowns in this game, and I think there's definitely value on picking some touchdowns on the Commanders side. Well, Hefe, that's going to break down the NFC. But I know you care way more about the AFC matchup. And guys, let's be honest here. This is the Super Bowl, right? Everyone thinks that this is the Super Bowl. This is the game we are all waiting for. I mean, I'll let it out now. Whoever wins this game is going to be my Super Bowl champion. I have them blowing out whoever makes it out of the NFC. Don't matter if it's the Commanders. Don't matter if it's the Eagles. Whoever wins the AFC championship is going to win the Super Bowl, in my opinion, by whatever the spread may be. But Hefe, over to you. Biggest game. Bills are getting 1.5 on the road in Arrowhead. Will they turn it into Josh Allen head, or will they turn it into Arrowhead in the AFC championship game? What do you got?
This is, I mean, what else could you want, right? This is like now already what, round four. Round one was when they were kind of, I don't really count anything until that AFC Championship game where they went back and forth and ended up KC tied the game with 13 seconds to go, right?
Yep.
This is like round three in my opinion. Last year, KC wins on a walk-off field goal in Buffalo. Year before that, KC wins on a walk-off touchdown in Kansas City. So there's been two straight iterations of this game in the playoffs with walk-off scores to win the game. It it's hard to not look at what's previously happened as an indication of what's going to happen, but I think you have to, based on just a couple factors.
Okay.
We have spoken already today in regards, just when we're talking about the NFC Championship game. In the playoffs in general, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is the team that's winning.
Yeah.
Well, there is no team that's made the least amount of mistakes more than the Buffalo Bills. Not just in the postseason, but this season. Josh Allen is doing historic numbers in terms of the least amount of interceptions, tackles for loss, sacks, basically any negative play to give the opposing offense an extra possession or give his team a less possession. I think that's huge. I think this Bills defense on paper, is not better than the Chiefs defense.
Agreed.
But I think the eye test, they're very even. If not, Bills have an edge right now. I think on offense, once again, on paper, Chiefs have a better offense. But Patrick Mahomes is best quarterback in the NFL. There's no doubt about it. But can you look at me in my face right now and tell me that based on what you've seen this year, not anything more than this year, because there's no conversation outside of this year, that
Absolutely.
Josh Allen isn't playing better than Patrick Mahomes right now?
I mean, there's no question about it. Josh Allen is absolutely playing
So-
better than Patrick Mahomes right now.
So, in my opinion, playoffs, and football sometimes isn't that sport where the team that's hot is the team that wins, throw everything else out. I think the Bills are so hot right now, and I think they have this us against the world mentality. They had it last week against the Ravens, and I think it's only gonna be heightened this week versus the Chiefs. Because it literally is just up. Here we go again. Bills coming in, whatever. Yeah, everybody's excited for a great game, cinematic performance that the Chiefs win. That's what everybody's excited for. I think that the Bills guys who've been here before, not just Josh Allen, but all the way through, from offensive
Von
lineman,
Miller,
defensive
they got a
lineman,
million of them.
a thousand. They know this is it. This is the worst version of the Kansas City Chiefs that they're going to see, and the best versions of the Bills they're going to see in terms of fit to beat the Chiefs. This Bills team is made to beat this Chiefs team. It just is, in terms of the Bills offense having no number one guy. So Trent McDuffie, who's one of the best DBs in the league, he can't just stick to this guy, right?
Yeah.
Because it's every guy.
Is he going to put him on Amari Cooper? I mean, I know
Exactly.
he's supposed to be the number one, but
He's supposed to be,
I
right?
mean, has he been better than, I don't know. Who could you think of? Because this guy's been terrible. He's been terrible since coming to Buffalo. Doesn't he have one touchdown since joining them?
Yeah,
back
it was
in like
his
week
first game.
4?
First game.
Insane.
It was the first game. I guess, but that kind of furthers my point, right? Okay, take Trent McDuffie and put it on the Bills' statistical number one wide receiver right now, which is Khalil Shakir.
I was going to say
Which,
Shakir.
by the way, McDuffie would never, because Shakir is a slot wide receiver.
Slot, yeah.
And what that would happen is McDuffie would be playing within 10 yards of the marker, and then that would leave the top wide open for an Amari Cooper or a Keon Coleman or a Curtis Samuel, who, by the way, came out of nowhere and is starting to do things, to just do go routes. And one-on-ones, Josh ain't missing.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
It puts the Chiefs in an interesting situation. Chiefs have good linebackers, though, and obviously Chris Jones is the difference maker here, because if he can get to Josh Allen, take everything I just said and put it away. I want to kind of slow roll.
Yeah, but I got to comment on that. You know what the Bills do better than anyone else I see is they roll out when they hike the ball. Let's say Chris Jones has slided a little bit on the right. They'll hike the ball, and Josh Allen will immediately skirt out to the left a little bit. They're fantastic at that.
They have the best jumbo package in the NFL. Jumbo package means you bring in an extra offensive lineman, take away, a fullback or somebody, and the Bills do jumbo the best in the league. They take an extra offensive lineman, but they will still, once you hike it, just like you said, roll everybody out. So, are we running? Is Josh Allen just going to extend the play, which he is also just as good as Patrick Mahomes? What I thought before I saw Josh Allen play these last couple weeks was the best extender of a nothing play. You know what I mean? Those plays where there's nothing and you're backpedaling, you're this freaking.
I mean,
to
like the touchdown last week, where who did he throw it to? I think it was Travis Kelce, where Mahomes was literally getting. That was the greatest extension throw under pressure in history. I got to put that out there. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It hit the bullseye. It was insane.
It was unbelievable.
That's why this game is going to be great, and there's nobody who can say which way it's going to go.
We will. We'll tell you. We may be wrong, but we're going to tell you which way we think.
I'm going to tell you what I feel. But let me do it this way, the same way I did the NFC Championship game. I'll leave you my two props.
Okay.
I just spoke about Khalil Shakir. I think there's no way the Bills even compete if Khalil Shakir does not continue being the absolute slot machine.
Trivia for you, which you're going to know it because I'm asking I'm just going to say it. Who had the least amount of drops in the NFL this year? For all guys that had a minimum of 50 targets or whatever it was. Shakir catches the damn ball. There is nobody better in the NFL. When the ball is near Shakir and it hits his hands, he's coming down with the ball. He's done it better than anybody else in the NFL this season.
This guy is he's Wes Welker right now. He is just the dependable,
It's a bold claim. He's very good.
He is the dependable slot wide receiver that is not going to be over the top, but on any type of a route tree, one-on-one, he's beating you. He's beating you to that edge. He's beating you to the spot that his quarterback wants him to be at. He's not overpowering you. He's not going to win a 50-50 ball over the top, but he's going to get to his spot.
Did you see the Schultz report that just came out? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it looks like Robert Saleh might be the guy at the Jags for their head coach.
Oh, boy.
Little curve. I know. I know. I just got the alert. I couldn't hold it in. I tried my best to not say anything, but as two New York guys, I have to put that out there. What a disaster that would be. I apologize. Please continue. What a disaster that would be.
Wow. All right. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, so I'm taking Khalil Shakir over 55 and a half receiving yards. It's the only way I think that the Bills can keep up, so to speak. I think both these offenses have something very much in common. Lack of explosive plays.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna see that 50-yard, 40-yard bomb to anybody. I
I
think you're
mean,
gonna see,
let's be real though. The Chiefs have a couple guys who could do it. I mean, now that they have
yeah,
Hollywood Brown back in the
Hollywood.
fold,
Yeah, of course, they absolutely can, but they haven't been, and that's not they haven't done that at all
you're right.
this year.
You're absolutely
They
right.
both of these offenses have been methodical movers. First down runs of 4-5, then maybe a little pass for 2-3, get it to 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and make something out of nothing, get a first down, do it all over again.
Yeah.
Long, sustained drives that just crush the opposing defense, minimizing mistakes as well. Josh Allen's done a lot on his feet. And if you remember, the last time these two teams played in the regular season, Josh Allen pretty much put the entire game on his back, scoring on a 4th down run that won the game, was electric, play of the year type stuff. And I think the Chiefs are going to be very sensitive to Josh Allen's mobility, which is why my second player prop is going to be a James Cook anytime touchdown. Um, I think they're going to sell out on Josh Allen on RPOs. I think that's going to create opportunities for James Cook, and I do think there'll be situations where the Bills are 1st and goal, 2nd and goal, whatever, from
So
inside
do
the
I.
5, so to speak,
So do I.
and that Cook will get his opportunities rather than put Josh in that spot. So those are my two big player props. How about you?
Well, taking a look at the board here, there's definitely some value. I mean, if you believe in any of these passing props, I mean, Khalil Shakir is the shortest odds of any of the receiving options for the Buffalo Bills. He's at plus 240. So I definitely think there could be some value there. So I do like that. Taking a look at the props, I hate to say this because of the way we're going to be breaking down the game, and I'll let it out early now. I'm on the Bills. I'm not even going to hide it to you guys. I am all over the Buffalo Bills on the spot. But that doesn't mean my favorite player prop is going to be somebody on the Buffalo Bills sideline. So my favorite prop is going to be Travis Kelce anytime touchdown plus 130. I've been saying it all season long. The Travis Kelce we saw in the regular season is not the same guy we're going to see in the postseason. He has a 36-year-old tight end now who needed to preserve his health. He couldn't take
He
shots all
did
year
the
long
same
and be
thing last year,
not to the
man.
extent of this year though. Like this year, he was really a non-factor. I don't even believe he was a top 10 fantasy tight end. So in a league that really is deprived of tight ends right now, to not even be in that realm of tight end for a guy like Travis Kelce is definitely interesting. But he comes alive when the lights come on and they're the brightest and they're in the playoffs. Last week he was sitting at a plus 160 to score a touchdown. I was all over that. We cashed out against the Texans. We're going to cash out here as well. It's not like the Chiefs are not going to score in this game. These teams are going to trade scores eventually. At some point in this game, we're going to see a back and forth, high pace game like we love to see. A vintage classic Chiefs Bills duel. We will see a little bit of that in this game. But no, I'm going to stay on the props here. We have to go to you first. We said we're going to do it in order. We have to stick to the order. But my favorite prop on this game is Travis Kelce anytime touchdown at plus 130. A guy I would like on the Bills. There's a couple big targets I have that I like over the plus 500 range. Because I do think one way the Bills have to win this game, one thing that they must do, is take the ball over the top and create some big plays. We just talked about that. And I think at least once or twice in this game, they'll be able to do that. Josh Allen will create, extend the play, roll out, and fire a bomb down the field and find one of his speedy receiving weapons. So the question to me is, which of those speedy receiving weapons do we want to go with? So Keon Coleman is plus 350 to score a touchdown. He's the shortest odds. And then you get a guy like Mac Hollins, the shoeless wonder, at plus 600. You also have Amari Cooper coming in at plus 550. So there's some pretty high odd guys. Curtis Samuel's there at plus 750. He's not the guy I would choose. Ray Davis is coming in at plus 800. Didn't he score the opening touchdown last week? Let me double check that.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
But
did. I know that for a
but
fact.
I mean, there's guys here that you can have a ton of value on, like guys like Ray Davis that are a threat in the receiving game, also a threat in the rushing game. And yeah, he had 5 carries, 30 yards, and a touchdown. So even he's going to get some burn because it's exactly what could happen in the last one, where you see this Cook lead them down the field, get him in the red zone, and then get a little tired at the end of the drive. And you get a reward to a guy like a Ray Davis who's sitting there at a plus 800. Now, that's not the selection I'm going to go with, and this may surprise you. But I like Mac Hollins as the outside receiving chance to find his way in the end zone. He's had a big role for this team all season long.
Yes.
He's quietly had a very solid year. Last week, he did have 2 targets. He did have a catch for 12 yards. The Bills didn't really move the ball too much in the air last week. Josh Allen only had 125 passing yards. He did have 16 completions. Most of those went to your guy Khalil Shakir or to running backs. But in the receiving room, I think they're going to find Matt Collins, and I think he's going to be able to create a big play here. Hefe, back over to you. I know the answer to this, but let the people know. Outside props. What are you taking in this game? Are you taking the Bills? Are you taking the Chiefs? What's the Hefe picks lock?
I'm taking the over and the Bills, guys. I'm going to say this. This game, neither team will feel comfortable no matter how much they're up, no matter how much time is left on this clock. That I can tell you.
You're right about that. You're definitely right about that.
If there is 30 seconds left, right, and the Chiefs have timeouts in their pocket, and the Bills are up 10, and the Bills are at the goal line, they are not playing it safe. There is no room for that. They are going to do whatever it takes to get that ball across that goal line. Okay, there will be a lot of going for it on fourth down and short because points are so important in this game. So I'm going to take the over. I'm taking the Bills money line. I think the Bills are the worst matchup for the Chiefs. I know the sports adage of it's really hard to beat a team twice.
Yep.
But I think this is an outlier because of the way that Josh Allen is playing the quarterback position right now. It's almost like he's not the Josh Allen of old. And I'm talking about the Josh Allen that we knew before this season.
The gunslinger, who would risk interceptions and take a million chances.
The guy who took the risks, and 80% of the time it paid off. But those 20%, man, did that hurt.
Killer. Yep, I agree.
He's not taking those risks. He is methodical with moving the ball up and slowly instead of big plays. He is not making mistakes. He is understanding when to get the ball out and just you live to see another down, so to speak. And what I mean by that is instead of taking a negative play, instead of taking a sack, he's just going to throw the ball over somebody's head out of bounds. You know, we'll live to see another down. Screw it. Yes, it was 2nd and 10. That'll be 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and 17 trying to make something stupid happen or, God forbid, interception or fumble.
Yeah.
This team also is playing very much so together as a team. And that's not to say that Kansas City isn't. I fear that Kansas City starters didn't play for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Then, I know it was a semi-good game. The Texans were never going to win that game.
No, they were never on the same level.
And the Chiefs knew that. And even if at times the game looked like it was up in the air, it really never wasn't. And I think that the Bills have been already in that mode since the millisecond that Bo Nix threw a touchdown to Troy Franklin in that first possession.
Yeah.
Where it's almost like the Bills switched it on, right? And obviously last week they had a matchup that somebody would have called the Super Bowl. Now they get another matchup where it's literally the Super Bowl. And then guess what? If they win, they actually get to go to the Super Bowl. So it's like they're already in that mindset. They're ready to roll. I think that the Bills have an opportunity, and they must seize on that opportunity early in the game to win this game. They have to come out with their asses on fire. They have to come out with a ferociousness. They got to make the Chiefs play from behind all game long so that the Chiefs are the ones that have to change the way they play in terms of methodical movement of the ball and go for more big plays, more splashy, explosive plays, thus creating opportunities for turnovers. And I think if that's how it happens, if the Bills can stay in the way that they're playing right now, in their game plan, they win this game.
Win the turnover margin, you win the football game. And the Bills will do that. They created 2 turnovers against the team that had the least amount of turnovers in the NFL in the Baltimore Ravens. They did a better job at turning it over against a team that has not turned it over all season long. I mean, Lamar had, 3 or 4 turnovers combined in fumbles and picks the entire year. So this team's done a fantastic job at creating turnovers. I think they will create turnovers in this one. And this is my favorite play of the weekend. I'm all over the Bills in the money line, guys. I know I'm hearing everybody talking about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are back. It's the Chiefs' year yet again. 3-peat. I don't see it. I see the Bills finally getting to the top of the mountain and bringing home the Super Bowl trophy. That's my official prediction. Yet again, my two predictions on the two games, because we already covered the Eagles-Commanders game, but the Commanders plus 6.5 and the Buffalo Bills on the money line are my two official plays on this game.
So,
FA.
yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so is your Super Bowl matchup Eagles-Bills?
I'm not ready to declare that. I'm on the Commanders. I still think the Commanders can do it. I know I said earlier I don't think they do. I think they can. I think they can.
No, I think it's almost interesting that, and don't quote me on this, but I believe the last time the Commanders made the Super Bowl and the last time the Bills made the Super Bowl was the Commanders beating the Bills in 1994. I am 85% sure about that. I think that would be the last time both these teams made it. Unless it was Cowboys Bills, no, it's got to be. It'd have to be 1994 Redskins Bills, I believe, the Super Bowl. It's just
Bills
very interesting that now both of these
94.
teams
You're right.
have yep,
Spot on. Yep.
spot on. So I just think that's a little that's crazy. And I think that's what you're gonna see. I think you're gonna see the Commanders get out of Philly, get that win, that road win, and then I think it's gonna be so easy for the betting public to look at that AFC Championship game and be like, oh, all right, we saw the upset, we saw the road team win. The Chiefs are obviously winning, and you're gonna see all this public money run in on the Chiefs right before kickoff.
I think so.
I think that bodes very well for the Bills. I think the Bills are at a place where they have nothing to prove to themselves, everything to prove to everybody else.
It's time to do it.
It's a scary place to be because they're gonna go out there, they're gonna play their brand of football.
Yep.
And I think that they have a lot of players, not just Josh Allen, that can make a big difference in this game, i.e. a Matt Milano, i.e. an Ed Oliver, Bernard. I think Rapp is going to be healthy enough to play.
He's going to
go.
go.
Great linebacker they have, Espinoza, who's fantastic.
I agree.
Epineza, fantastic. I mentioned Bernard already. He's fantastic too.
Milano.
Milano's the leader. He's the Mike. He's everywhere. And on offense, just because they don't got a Pro Bowler, just because they don't got that other guy together, when you really look at the room, it's a pretty solid room.
Very well put
Two
together.
great blocking and catching tight ends. Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. 3, a running back room that has your Thunder and Lightning, James Cook, then a mixture of Ty Johnson, Ray Davis.
And throw in Allen, a great runner himself.
One of the hardest quarterbacks to tackle, in my opinion, just because of sheer strength.
Because he's a tree.
He's a tree, exactly. And then the wide receiver room, I get it. I mean, nobody whoa, but like, put all 5 of them together.
Get a little O. Maybe no whoa, but a little O. I don't know.
And would it totally crazy surprise you if for no reason whatsoever Amari Cooper made a big catch or two? I'm not talking about have a big game.
Yeah, it would, to be honest. It would, because do you know how many times I bet on his anytime touchdown this year, and this dude just didn't even get in the fucking game? Pardon my language, but I am so sick of Amari Cooper. He really pissed me off this year. So it would surprise me because of his lack of production, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of information for you. Well, it's not information, just a little bit of a little rumor popping up, and I want to know your thoughts on it. There's a new favorite in line for the Vegas head coaching job, with all the premier guys kind of coming off the table now. It's a former NFL head coach who's no longer in the NFL, and it's not Bill Belichick. Who do you think it is? Is the hot report right now?
Is he working right now or not working right now?
No, he's not working right now.
Former NFL coach, not working right now.
Mm-hmm. He's an old. He's an old. Give up. Pete. Good old Pete Carroll is now the favorite to be the head coach
can
of
Pete
the
do
Las
me a favor and go spend
Vegas
time with his
Raiders.
grandchildren, man? Like,
I mean, I think that would be a disaster. Can you imagine Pete in Vegas?
But I just don't get it. He's 74, 75 years old.
Yes, he'll be 74.
He's won a Super Bowl. He's won a national title. He has proven anything there is to prove. Go enjoy your life, bro. Like, go spend time with your family.
I mean, yeah, but you could say the same thing as Billy B. You could say the same thing for Billy B.
That's
who's
different.
now at North Carolina.
I'll tell you something that's different. he's just a weirdo in my opinion. I mean, also another guy, dude. You're the most successful head coach in the NFL. If you wanted to come back to the NFL, that would make sense to me because you're so close to Shula for most wins ever. But going to college is like, what are you doing this for? It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But he's a weird guy.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
All right. I would ask you this, going on that topic. A lot of the big names are out. You still got a lot of openings. You mentioned the Jags. There's the Raiders. There's the Dallas Cowboys. And it's interesting because I don't know who half these teams are going to hire. And I look at the Cowboys in particular.
Dion.
At this point,
Dion.
it's getting slim where you're going to hire somebody that your fan base is going to look at and be like, that's better than what we had.
Maybe. What do you think about Kellen Moore, former offensive coordinator of Dallas, returning as our head coach? I can see it. A rumor. Right now, it seems like there's two candidates for Dallas, in my opinion. Dion, Moore. Only two I can see going there. And if they didn't have a good read on who they're getting, which I think they already know, similarly to when the Patriots fired Gerard Mayo, they knew 2 weeks before they fired Gerard Mayo that they were going to be hiring who they hired and bringing Mike Vrabel back into the organization. I don't think the Cowboys would have fired McCarthy or not redone his contract if they did not have a full plan already done. So to me, I think it's either probably Kellen Moore, because he can't say anything. It could be something very similarly to Ben Johnson. Everyone knew Ben Johnson was going to go to the Bears. Everyone knew Ben Johnson was going to the Bears. The next day after the Lions were out, they announced he was going to the Bears. I could see Kellen Moore's situation the same happening in Dallas, but it's either him or Dion for me. What do you think? And last NFL topic, because the show's coming to an end, and we got to give some people a couple NBA plays for tonight. I still want to make sure we get that done. So what do you think about Dallas? Who are they going to go with?
It's such a Jerry Jones move to go Deion Sanders, but in the same sense, it's not because Jerry wants full control of all football activities, everything, and Deion does not seem like a guy who's gonna play that game. I think it's interesting that they've interviewed their offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer already twice in 2 days.
That's a joke
I think
to me.
that's really interesting.
That's a bad one.
If that's the hire, I would love to listen in to the local Dallas sports radio moments after that hire.
It just can't be. They have to be placating him. It just can't be. The plan has to be Kellen Moore or
wait,
Dion.
talk about a guy that's a puppet. Talk about a guy that Jerry Jones can control. How about a guy that's been there already as the OC?
Jason Garrett yet again? They're not doing that again. They already had Jason Garrett for 400 years.
I would be shocked if it was. Kellen Moore's a good fit. He obviously was there. He was the QB coach, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. He was supposed to be the next Kevin O'Connell. Remember that?
He was. And maybe he still can be. But Dallas has issues beyond coaching, in my opinion.
That's why I think they need Dion. Like a guy who's represented the Cowboy way, which, by the way, is disgusting. As a Giants fan, I'm only talking about the Cowboy way. But they need someone to go in there with a Dion personality, a Michael Irvin personality, and say, you guys are not playing for, I don't know, what's a lousy team that has not had a good career? I don't know. I can't say the Chicago Bears. Okay, you're not playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Show some pride in your team, which, as a Giants fan, is gross yet again to say. But they need a guy like that. And I don't know if Kellen Moore is that guy. That's why Dion's probably the most ideal fit, in my opinion. But I don't want to see him go there either. So I'm hoping it's Kellen Moore, but I really do think it could be a Deion Sanders hire, personally.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think the teams that are going to get stuck with first-time head coaches that people are scratching their heads at, probably the Saints, because that's a situation that I have no idea what they're doing, where they're headed. That is Derek Carr time over? Is the Spencer Rattler your franchise quarterback? I think you're headed towards next year a total tankathon with them. And then the Raiders are also in a weird spot where it's like, could that be Dion?
Could be more. I'm getting more Pete Carroll to Raiders buzz. It seems to be the hot story. It's the third alert I've gotten about it in the last 20 minutes. So that seems like it is gaining some steam there. But Hefe, let's transition. I know it's tough after doing an hour of NFL to jump into a daily NBA quick little breakdown, but let's do one game. Let's pull up the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Houston Rockets tonight, because this one to me is the game of the day, and the line to me is the fishiest line of the day. Right now the Cavs are getting 2. They're -2, and they're a -130 on the money line against a Rockets team that has been pretty good this year. The Rockets are 28-14 on the season, 14-7 at home. Very, very productive, and they've been very good at home. They're 2-1 at home, 14-7, so they've been fantastic. But they're taking on a Cavs team.
The Houston Rockets are the number 2 seed in the West.
Yeah, they've been fantastic, but they're taking on the number one seed in the East that only has 6 losses on the year. The Cavs are 36-6, which is an unbelievable start to the season. They're 15-4 on the road as well. So
Unbelievable.
when you see this line, does this one feel a little fishy that the Cavs are only a -2 / a -130
No,
when they're this good of a team? I know Evan Mobley's
Evan
out.
Mobley.
He's officially been ruled out. Isaac Okoro has been ruled out as well. But all that being said, you really think that only a -2 is the right line here?
Breaking
What do you think
news.
about this game?
Breaking news. Breaking news.
I just got 400 texts, so what happened?
Trent Baalke fired.
Jaguars GM just got it as
So
well.
here's literally what happened. It's really simple. Whoever the Jags want as head coach literally said, "I will only sign if that guy's not there." And this also is a fallout right after Liam Cohen, who is the offensive coordinator of the Buccaneers,
Back to the Bucks.
met with the Jags and literally said after he re-signed with the Buccaneers, the reason that he didn't go further with the Jaguars is I didn't agree with where their plans were for the future of their franchise. That is a direct Trent Baalke situation. Obviously, the owner.
Well, I mean, we all saw what happened when it was Khan and Balky in the room and they were doing an interview, and they asked if they were confident in the direction of the team and having Balky at the helm, and he was basically like, "Not really," and he was sitting right next to him.
This is huge, guys. This changes everything for the Jaguars right now. Now the Jaguars, I think, become a destination for a big name because now,
Who's left?
listen. Trevor Lawrence had a bad year. Trevor Lawrence is not a bad player.
I agree.
Let's not go with this Trevor Lawrence as a bust thing because I don't think he's a bust. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be a great wide receiver for years to come. And they have good young players on their defense. This is big that the Jaguars just fired Trent Baalke.
And there's no income tax in the state of Florida, so it's definitely a desirable
The
team.
Jags are now, in my opinion, going after a big
But
head
who?
coaching name.
Who's left?
Mike McCarthy.
Is that a big hire in 2025?
I'm just thinking right now.
Yeah, no, if you think of anyone who you think could now be the guy for there, let us know. But let's go back over to the NBA. I do want to get this game in because it is a fantastic game. Who do you think wins this, and what's your official bet on the Cavs versus the Rockets tonight?
I'm rolling with the Cavs here, man. I think the numbers where it's at because of Evan Mobley not being in. I think that the Cavs are a fantastic road team. And I think they match up well with this Rockets team, to be honest with you. Both are guard-heavy teams, 3-and-D wing guys that want to, shoot a lot of threes, fast-paced offense. And I think that the Cavs are just a smidge better and more veteran-laced than the Rockets are right now, which should help them in high-leverage situations. Just looking at the Rockets' last few games, they're coming off a loss to the Pistons at home. So, and before that, they took care of business, against a team like Portland and then lost to the Kings. Cavs are coming off of back-to-back wins versus the T-Wolves and the Suns. I think it's a good matchup tonight. I'll take the Cavs on the money line. Could certainly see the Rockets taking it, though.
Yeah, I'm all over the Rockets in this spot. I'm going to be completely honest. This is probably a very unpopular pick, as I do anticipate the Cavaliers to be the biggest favorite or the biggest, what's the right word I'm looking for here? The most team bet. They're going to be the not sharp side. They're gonna be most public. Thank you. Jeez, it's been a long day. They're going to be the most public team of the day in any sport tonight. Everybody and their grandmother is going to be on the Cavs in the spot. You see two teams, and the casual NBA fan does not understand how good the Rockets are this year. You think vintage Rockets, maybe the Harden days. They haven't been relevant in, 20 years. Like, realistically, 15, 20 years. They haven't really been a threat. So now that they're back and good, people aren't really up to the trend yet, and I think a lot of people are just going to hammer the Cavs, which I think is the wrong decision here. One thing I like to look at is the ESPN BPI, just to give us a general sense of what ESPN is predicting. And they're giving a 53% favorite to the Rockets here to 47 to the Cavs. Not a huge leeway there. I just think without Evan Mobley in the lineup tonight, it's going to be very difficult to control the glass. I know Jared Allen's done a fantastic job, but I'm also a big Alperen Sengun guy. I think Sengun's going to be able to have his way if he puts Jared Allen off the dribble, because Sengun could drive to the basket from the top of the key. If Allen's man guarding him at the top of the key, he's going to get cooked. He's going to get absolutely cooked. And I do think the Rockets do have a big performance here. So the Rockets are going to be my play of the day here in the NBA. I have another one to give out earlier. I have two for the day. I'll let that one out as well. I am on the Minnesota Timberwolves -3 tonight against the Mavericks. So my two favorite plays today, Rockets +2, T-Wolves -3. Any other bets you want to give out, Hefe, before we get out of here today?
Yeah, man. I actually do. I have one for each league. Um, been pretty good at looking at teams coming off back to backs this year. Nets played last night. They lost a close one against the Knicks. It was a game where they were in it literally until the last moment, which
Yep.
we would have to have another hour long show to discuss how embarrassing that fourth quarter was.
Yep.
But a lot of energy exerted, a lot of minutes played. Nets are right back home tonight. Phoenix Suns coming into town. I'm looking at the Suns right now. Other than Bradley Beal, who is always a game time decision and not a real person in my books, everybody else is healthy and going. It's a big spread, 12 and a half. I think this is a game where flat out the Nets are out of it by halftime. I think the Suns cruise to a big victory. I know it's a big spread, but I like it. Now, my favorite play of the day is in college basketball.
Okay. What are you looking at?
The St. John Red Storm
The
are playing.
Johnnies.
The Johnnies are playing their first game ranked this year, and it is well overdue, man. First of all, the team's 16-3. How the hell is this the first time they're ranked? They are 12-0 at home, which is where they'll be tonight. 7-1 in the Big East, which is who their opponent's conference is tonight, and their conference, Xavier. 7.5 is the spread. I'm rolling with the Johnnies to win this game. They could win this game by anywhere from 8 to 12 points, in my opinion. Good spot for the Johnnies at home with that home crowd, first time ranked. Rick Pitino's going to have those boys energized, ready to roll to prove it that they deserve this ranking.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm on the Johnnies as well tonight, so I absolutely love that. Well, Hefe, we've been on for a little over an hour, breaking down a little NBA, breaking down a little NFL, and breaking down a little college basketball now. We do want to say we appreciate every single person for tuning in today. If you guys want to check out more about us, our DubClub links are here below, and we will be back next week, same time, same place. Hefe, any parting words for the people before we get the heck out of here?
Go Bills.
Go Bills. Let's go Bills. Let's go Commanders. We'll see everybody next week. Shout out man in the back, Mr. Alex, for producing as he always does. We appreciate you. We'll be back. Have a good one, guys, and let's cash all our bets.
Johnnies.
Very good. Very good.